Hey friend, this is Jeric G, ang nagmamaranang yung friend, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, another tutorial content na naman tayo. So kung ikaw ay interested, keep on watching. So, disclaimer lang guys, hindi pa po ako CPA. So, anything na sasabihin ko or ituturo ko in this video is based only on my understanding, based only on what I have learned during my undergrad and even during on my self-study. So, kung sa tingin mo mayroon ako nasabing concept na hindi tama, aba, nagmamarunong ko pa sa nagmamarunong ng friend. Lecturer lang. Feel free to comment kasi wala naman tayo ibang gustong mangyari dito but to help every accounting students and aspiring CPAs na ma-master ang bawat concept para ma-achieve nila ang goal nila, which is to become a certified public accountant.
Okay, so this time let's proceed with the nature or characteristic of power of taxation. I think may mga bagay na nabanggit sa kanyang definition, but let's just summarize its nature or characteristic. So the first one is, it is an attribute of sovereignty. Big sabihin, it is an inherent power. Next is, it is legislative in character. As I said before, there are three branches of the government and only the legislative branch can execute this power of taxation. It is subject to international committee or treaty. Actually, this one is also the limitation in terms of the power of taxation, and I will discuss this later on. The next one is, it is subject to constitutional and inherent limitations. As I said, diba? In every power, there is a limitation para hindi abusuhin. The fifth one is, it is generally payable in money. It is territorial. So I'll explain this also later on. And it is for public purpose. So these are the nature or characteristics of the power of taxation. So now let's proceed to the scope of power of taxation. So the first one is comprehensive. It covers practically everything: persons, businesses, activities, etc. So the scope of power of taxation, hindi mo pwedeng questionin kung kahit sino lamang ang pwede niyang taksan. The next one is, it is unlimited. So in the absence of limitations, the power to tax is unlimited. So pwede. The next one is plenary. It is complete. And number 4, supreme, yung power of taxation as to the selection of the subject or object of taxation. Remember, the power of taxation, anyone, anything, pwede niyang taksan. Diba? Kumpara sa police power na limited lamang doon sa property na subject sa regulation niya, and even sa eminent domain na limited lamang doon sa specific property na magiging subject ng eminent domain. So, itong apat na itong comprehensive, unlimited, plenary, and supreme, nasabi nila na ito yung power of taxation kasi yung as long as the legislative branch does not violate any inherent and constitutional limitations, hindi pwedeng questionin ng korte ang tax laws na ginawa ng ating Congress o ng ating legislative branch, kahit na ano pa yung tinaksa nila, gaano pa kalaki yung tax nila, sino pa man yung tinaksa nila, 'di ba? At even though kahit alam natin na mayroong hidden agenda, as long as the tax became a law, hindi natin pwedeng questionin 'yon, 'di ba? So, remember, as long as hindi nila na-violate yung limitations, yung inherent and constitutional limitations, ito yung sakop ng ating power of taxation. It is comprehensive, it is unlimited, it is plenary, and it is supreme. Okay. Okay, so right now, let's proceed with the limitations on the power of taxation. And kanina ko pa ito nababanggit, tong dalawang limitations na ito. So what are those? So the number one is the inherent limitations. And these are restrictions arising from the very nature of the power of taxation itself. So, ibig sabihin kakambal na ito ng power of taxation. So, dahil may power of taxation, meron siyang inherent limitation agad. Na kahit hindi i-provide ng constitution, na kahit hindi natin i-provide ng mga tao, automatic i-impose o nagko-control sa ating power of taxation. So, what are those? The first one is territoriality. It is only limited to persons and property within and subject to its jurisdiction. So, ibig sabihin, limitado lamang yung taxing power sa area na sakop ng isang bansa. So, katulad sa atin sa Pilipinas. So, hanggat may jurisdiction ang Pilipinas, sakop yun ang tax natin. So, kung hindi na jurisdiction ng Pilipinas, hindi na pwedeng taksan. Okay? So, the next one is the public purpose. So, the tax collected must be used to support the government and for the welfare of the community. So, yung proceeds na nakuha natin, yung proceeds na na-come up natin, o yung tax na nakolekta natin, na inilagay natin sa public funds, dapat gagamitin yon for public purpose or para sa kapakanan ng nakararami o ng taong bayan, hindi ng isang individual. International Committee. This principle states that a state cannot tax another state based on the principle of sovereign equality among states. So, kapag ang isang bansa ay isang signatory ng isang international treaty, halimbawa ang Pilipinas, nakipagkasundo sa Korea, sa China, sa, sa mga karatig bansa. So, kung ano yung napag-usapan nila doon at pinirmahan yon ng representative natin ng Pilipinas, masasakop nun o mababangga nun yung taxing power natin. So kung ano yung nakasulat dun sa kasunduan, subject doon yung ating power of taxation. Halimbawa, hindi mo pwedeng taksan ang mga masisingkit. Diba? So, kahit na nag-impose tayo na dapat taksa ng mga singkit. So, kapag may nakita ka na Koreanong singkit, hindi mo pwedeng taksan yon. Kasi nga, subject tayo sa International Committee. Okay, the next one is the non-delegability of the taxing power. Generally, power of taxation is purely a legislative act. So, ibig sabihin, only the legislative branch or the Congress can exercise this power of taxation. But syempre, there are exceptions na ibinigay sa atin. The unang-una is the president. So, the president can... So, ang ating president, pwede niyang i-fix yung tariff rates and custom duties. And even pwede siya mag-veto ng ilang items sa isang revenue bills o isang tax bills, ba? Kung gusto ng ating president. And the LGU, so binibigyan sila ng power to create their own source of revenue. Diba nga ang power of taxation is a source of revenue of the government. And the LGU was authorized to create their own source of revenue. And even sa BIR, which is an executive department also, the BIR or the Bureau of Internal Revenue, so binigyan din sila ng power but only to implement and to collect taxes. And lastly, the exemptions from taxation of the government, any political subdivision thereof or agencies performing purely governmental functions. So, kung ang isang government agency, nakita mo na nagper-perform ng mga governmental functions, exempted yan sa pagbayad ng tax. Bakit? Kasi syempre, sino ba ang gagamit ng ating taxes? 'Di ba? Yung government din. Siyempre may exemptions. Halimbawa, ang isang government agency ay nag-earn na ng income like a normal corporations do. So, hindi na sila exempted sa taxation. Example nun, yung land bank, yung PAGCOR, yan. Sila, may tax na yan sila. Pero, may iba naman, may exemptions. Ito yung mga exceptions to the exemptions na kahit nag-earn na sila ng income, pero exempted pa rin sila sa taxation. So, what are those? Yung katulad ng SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, the local water districts, yan. Mga exempted pa rin yan kahit na hindi purely governmental functions ang ginagawa nila. So, those are the inherent limitations of the power of taxation. And now, let's move on to the second limitations on the power of taxation. So, what is this? This is the constitutional limitations. Ito yung limitations na pre-provide ng ating 1987 Constitution. Kumbaga, itong limitations na to, no, these are the limitations na provided sa ating 1987 Constitution. Ano-ano yun? The due process of law. So, syempre, hindi pwedeng agad-agad kapag naisip ng Congress na o taksan natin yan sila. Halimbawa, naglalakad ang isang member of the Congress, naisip niya na ataksan tong nagbabike na ito. Hindi naman ganon. Yung para maging tax law ang isang konsepto, kailangan dumaan muna sa proseso. The next one is the equal protection of the law. It means equality among equals. Next is uniformity in taxation. Taxation of same class. The fourth one is the progressive system of taxation by using the graduated rates. So sa atin, sa Pilipinas, bawal ang regressive taxation. Regressive system. Ibig sabihin, ang progressive, as the tax base increases, the tax rate increases also. Non-imprisonment of non-payment of debt or poll tax. The non-impairment of obligation in contract. Freedom to exercise religion. Freedom of the press. Non-appropriation of public funds or property for the benefit of any church, sect, or system of religion. So, there is a freedom to exercise religion. Diba? Kaya nga meron tayo ditong separation of the state and the churches. So, ibig sabihin, walang dapat na pinapaboran yung ating government as to churches or sect or system of religion. So, ang isang public funds, bawal gamitin para sa kapakanan ng isang sekta. Diba? So, halimbawa, si mayor, belong siya sa isang project, belong siya sa isang church. And, naisip niya na mag-alat ng pondo na para sa church na yon using the public funds. Bawal yon. The next one is the exemption of religious, charitable, or educational entities, non-profit cemeteries, church from property taxes. So, exemption from taxes of the revenues and assets of non-profit, non-stock educational institutions for educational purposes. No law granting any tax exemption shall be passed without the concurrence of a majority of all the members of Congress. Next is the non-impairment of jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to review tax cases, the final arbiter. Appropriations, revenue, or tariff bills shall originate exclusively in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments. So, ito na yon. So, the member of Congress o yung Congress, it is composed of House of Representatives and the Senate. So, sabi dito, anything appropriation or revenue or tariff bills dapat daw manggagaling sa House of Representatives. Pero ang Senate, pwede silang mag-propose ng amendments. And lastly, each local government unit shall exercise the power to create its own sources of revenue and shall have a share in the national taxes. So ito na yon.
And that's it. I hope na nakatulong na naman itong tutorial content ko sa inyo. So if you find this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like and share this video para marami pang accounting students at aspiring CPAs ang matuto sa konseptong ito. Thank you and see you on my next nagmamarunong na vids. Bye!